locally on the WYSL stations.
Open Door Mission is deeply grateful. Because of your generous hearts, you've opened many doors, including those in need to find shelter with respect and dignity. With your continued help, more doors will open. Please go to opendoormission.com.
I'm Tom Wall's team member, Hunter. Tom Wall's, no shortcuts. Your root beer float starts with us making small batches of root beer in each store. Vanilla ice cream from upstate farmers swirls above the rim. The smile on your face never fails. Tom Wall's.
Tom Wall's. WYSL.
The all-new WYSL1040.com. Proudly brought to you by Batavia Downs.
Batavia Downs with more, lots more. WYSL.
The WYSL stations bring you Jose Pio and LaVal Lewis and your weekly dose of PCP. It's your hour of common sense with the politically correcting podcast and show.
You got the power to let power go.
All right, we are back, and I am super hyped for no reason. I was just banging on the table for no reason over here. We got the politically correcting boys, LaVal Lewis, myself, the Jose Pio. Maybe because New York State is pushing electric everything these days. If you haven't heard about New York State's 2030 plans to require you to be pushed into submission, it's going even further now. Governor Hochul announces electric bill relief program. This is something that I don't particularly, I don't like, just based on the general idea here. Announces electric bill relief program. A new program was approved to provide electric bill credits for low-income households in disadvantaged communities across New York State. Governor Hochul announced Wednesday that a new program, Renewable Energy Access and Community Help, otherwise known as REACH, was approved to provide electric bill credits for low-income households in disadvantaged communities across New York State. That, to me, we have so many issues with the electrification of New York State, where they're pushing everything to go towards electric. We're going to get to another story in a little bit about the semi-trucks. They're pushing for those. But the fact that we can't fix the issue of how high our RG&E bills, which for anyone out there that doesn't live in Rochester, it's the utility bill company around here that's owned by another country, Spain. Iberdrola, is it?
Iberdrola.
Iberdrola, sorry.
Iberdrola, yep.
I guess I give the Spanish version. I guess I want to kind of jump into that in general, because I know that there was a lot of people out there that during the conversation of creating a public utility company that I know you were against.
Yeah.
I was certainly for at least looking into it to see what it would cost. I believe that the numbers were just far off, but in order to help fix some of the pricing that's come up due to the amount of infrastructure changes that we're requiring our utility companies to go through, they increased everyone's bills by about, I believe, like 23%. So Hochul's answer is to give them relief, which comes in the form of taxpayer dollars paying for other people's utility bills. And that's how I read it.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
So is that not socialism? Because I feel that's
exactly what it is. And it doesn't stop there either. When you look at your RG&E bill, understand this, right? The market dictates everything. And the people that's bringing you your power, they will get paid, right, off of their charges. And everything that they charge you on the bill, the state approves.
The problem that I see here is not only because of how much they're charging us, but I feel like you're buying votes, because anytime all these disadvantaged folks living in low-income households, they're seeing that Hochul is giving them money, and they're going to, when her election time comes around, they're going to say, well, she helped me out with my RG&E bill. I like that. I want more of that.
You know how much money that's going to cost state taxpayers already getting hit in other parts of everyday life, you're going to hit us even more on a back end tax that we probably don't know we're getting hit with, because you want to be some savior for the utility companies, because that's all you're doing is making them richer. You're only taking our tax dollars to give the Iberdrola, a company who has a global conglomerate that, I mean, they're not hurting for any type of money whatsoever. When they bought RG&E, they knew RG&E had a ton of infrastructure issues, millions of dollars that they needed to fix based on our power grid, and they didn't do a thing. And those fixtures are still in need of repair. And you look at towns like Webster, whenever there's a big power outage, those people pay a lot of money to have power. I mean, even though they are not, you know, a lot of folks in Webster may not be, you know, in poverty. They pay a lot to have their power get shut off. So what about those customers?
And how I see this, because you brought it up, how you're essentially just using taxpayer dollars to pay off a private entity. How is that any different than the student loan relief?
It's the same. All they're doing is offering the same package promises to get people to vote. And then when they implement this stuff, they see what the bill is, we're the only ones that's going to get hit hard. We're going to get hit hard with backdoor taxes, violations, state violations, driving infractions. Like they'll try and nickel and dime us any way they can.
And they're saying it's a new program for this, and we already have programs in place.
HEAP, yeah, that's a huge credit.
Right. So we just created a whole new program to help them more, which, again, being a Democrat, I believe that we should help those in need. There are certainly people who are living in households or houses that are so freaking old, and these, you know, let's call them outside of the area landlords, housing providers, are not going to upgrade the walls. They're not going to upgrade the windows. They're not going to upgrade the roof. They're not going to put any money into installation. So we have a lot of people who are living in houses that are over 100 years old that cold air is just seeping into. So obviously they have to crank up their heat to make up for it. That's always going to cost the low income people more, because those are in houses that are older, and those are, for the most part, in rental homes. Now, there's a lot of people who own their home, thank goodness, that bought it, you know, let's say before COVID, like myself. And we know how much it costs to heat our house every winter. It's a lot of money to heat up my home that was built in 1922. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a cheap bill. So I can't imagine what it's cost someone who lives in, let's say, a home built in 1898, which Rochester has plenty of them, that isn't insulated as well as mine, that doesn't have the carpeting, that doesn't have the new roof. I can't imagine what they're going through with their RG&E bills.
Yeah, I just going to toss in here, there are winterization programs available on the county level. Just talk to your county government or whoever's representing you, wherever town you are. And then there's also programs through NYSERDA. Yep. And any heating contractor can point you to those.
Yep. They'll come out and do an audit on your home.
NeighborWorks.
And to Iberdrola RG&E's credit, they do. There's a lot of information that you can find available to you as a consumer. Winterizing your home is definitely a huge benefit to anybody. Just finding little cracks and corners where air seeps in through your windows, through your doorways.
Electrical outlets. People don't know that electrical outlets that are in the wall that's outside, that's facing outside, if you put a little buffer in between those, it does help.
Yeah, there's so many things that you can do, but these pie in the sky solutions by Hochul, it to me, it just shows how out of touch the leadership of the Democratic
They're not out of touch. They're buying their voters.
They are completely out of touch, because just because you come up with this dumbass solution does not mean that it's actually going to help anybody in return. It's like, so
they don't care about helping, they care about votes.
Yes, exactly. That's why I said they're so out of touch. HEAP itself, it's a program that's established. I mean, dang near anybody can apply for HEAP. You
Right.
call, you make a phone call, and you get accepted. They'll pay your RG&E bill for you. They'll stop your any type of shutoff notice that you get. Like, so that's already in place. On top of the folks who probably automatically qualify for HEAP every year, they're probably on social service already.
Right.
So you're just saying now, us as a taxpayer, we have to pay more into that system that is a socialistic system that does not help anybody.
And these, I don't mean to use the term "these people" in any kind of derogatory way, but people who don't pay any taxes have the same weight in their vote than we do.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep voting in the same people that keep giving them more and more handouts. And us, the ones who are saying we want change, it seems like we're just cast aside every election cycle. But maybe this one will be a little different. We're going to jump more into this conversation. I do want to hear from you. 346-3000 is the number to call here at the WYSL station. We are the politically cracking boys, Laval Lewis, myself, the Jose Pio. Back right after this break. 346-3000. Give us a call.
August summer night, soldiers passing by. You're listening.
Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and along with my son Zach, we are the owners of Flower City Collision. We've been advertisers on WYSL, the voice of liberty, for the last couple of years. So I want to thank the listeners of WYSL for their patronage, which has allowed us to grow and reinvest in the latest technologies to ensure that your vehicles are repaired to the most current standards, whether conventional or EV. If you're in a collision, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta, and he'll work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure that your repair gets done right.
Youth for Christ Rochester is focused on keeping kids safe and healthy this summer. We provide a Christ-like culture in our skills and drills, Friday night or Saturday morning basketball. And we're so excited to start all 3 versions of our new God's Girls middle school programs. Consider connecting your business or ministry to one of these vital programs for City Youth through a sponsorship. Reach me at mhennessy@yfcrochester.org or support us online with a one-time or monthly gift. Go to yfcrochester.org/donate.
Hi, I'm Kathy, Tom Walls team member, and I want to serve you the best fish fry. Caught in the cold North Atlantic, our haddock dinners are crispy and golden. Paired with fresh coleslaw and hot crispy fries will leave your taste buds craving more. Come to Tom Walls and enjoy a taste of the Atlantic with our haddock fish dinner.
Hey, this is Striker that calls into WYSL's PCP Boys. I'd love to have you come listen to my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic. If you like the content of WYSL, I think you'll like my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic, on Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon podcast apps.
Politically correcting.
It's election.
All right. We are back at the Whistle, WYSL, with the politically correcting boys, Laval Lewis, myself, the Jose Pio. Yeah, you didn't know they referred to the Whistle back in the day. That's what I heard.
I guess it must be true. You said it.
Mayor P. Kennedy says hello.
Pete, Pistol Pete, how you doing, bud?
Well, that's where I got the whistle from.
Got it.
But we did have a caller during the break. He didn't want to come on the air, but he said something along the lines of this is a concerted effort to bring about chaos, which that's absolutely correct. Because when they continue to get taxed to no end to pay for those who get every benefit under the sun to live their life and never pay any taxes or never have to make up for those grants that they keep getting. I'm not trying to demonize these people by any means, but I do know there are certainly people out there who are making these decisions to live off the government dime. And when I say the government dime, I mean the workers' dime, the people who are paying the taxes. They're living off of us freely. And then there's so many of us right now who are just trying to get by in this economy. A lot of people don't realize, I've talked to a number of business owners in regular life, because my business is business financing, but also with the campaign for Greg Sadwick for Congress, talking to business owners, and they're saying themselves, their neighbors who are all in like this same area in Greece, for example, they're saying that they've had to cut their employee count in half. They've had to start making full-time workers into part-time workers just because they're not seeing the same amount of people anymore. And these are businesses like nail salons, hair salons, eyelash studios, a deli. Like these are normal, everyday, small mom and pop businesses. We're not talking about McDonald's, Burger King, who, if they have to cut down their workforce, they don't care. They're happy about that. They're going to mechanize and make everything a lot easier for them by investing in technology to make up for not needing employees. But these businesses are hurting right now, and they're seeing lower than normal traffic counts.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't see anyone really talking about because they're all saying that the economy is doing great.
Yeah, and just like what the caller was saying, that it's done deliberately. The culture in the United States is definitely not what it was back in the day when your merit, your hard work was celebrated more so than the ones who did not want to do anything. And it's exactly how communism works. It's exactly how it works. You create some sort of social friction within every sector of capitalism within our society that creates this divide. And this is what we have right now, where you got people who think it's okay to not put forth any effort, and the small business owners, the people who are they're finding themselves getting back into putting in more work within their business because it's how the whole fake word of equality works. If people feel as though they can get away with doing nothing, they're going to do it.
Right. And so for any small business owners out there, let me give you some words of advice here. Get a line of credit currently, like immediately while you can, because I've seen so many business tax returns and, P&Ls. I can hear your water coming through.
Oh, my bad.
And P&Ls, balance sheets out there, and they are decreasing pretty substantially. So it's very difficult for a business that shows a downward spiral of revenues to get any kind of credit. And if you do, it's based off of your current numbers. So if you're used to a certain dollar amount before, and now you're seeing, a decrease of about 25 to 35% less, it might be a very cold winter coming up in terms of what your business is going to look like with the traffic or lack of, a lot of people right now are living on credit cards, and that's going to come back to haunt them. There's not going to be any debt relief for that. You will not get that. You're going to be forced into submission to own nothing and be happy and
rely on the state. That's it. That's what happens, right? If you don't have the credit, if you don't have the finances available to run your business, now you're at mercy of the state. Now you work for the state. Well, hey, in order for you, if you want to stay in business, you have to work through us now. We will provide you with the necessary capital you need, and everything you make, we get our cut first.
Or if you want to, continue getting that help with your heat, throughout the months, you're going to have to stay under this certain income limit. So as a business owner, your revenues are going to have to stay at this level in order for you to keep getting that help. Because once you go up above that level, you got to pay for it yourself. And they're doing it with childcare.
Oh, gosh. It's getting real big. It's getting crazy.
It's only going to get worse with childcare. And on top of that, I don't know what to say because I feel insane seeing everything firsthand. And I'm trying to scream it from the mountaintops to every Democrat that I know who still pushes this vote for Kamala, vote for Tim Walz thing. And I'm sitting there and vote the incumbents back in. And I'm sitting there saying, what are you not seeing? Because I'm sitting here telling you, as someone who is on the inside, who looks at freaking politics every single day, and on top of that, is heavily involved with small businesses, heavily involved in looking at P&Ls and balance sheets, talking to business owners. And I'm telling you, they're hurting right now. So for our government and our media to continue to say that the economy is booming, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
We got Dr. Bob doesn't know how to operate a phone over here. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. It might be a call in. It might be calling in
to the show.
No, it's just never mind.
Thank you.
Android settings.
And it might be the Android thing. What we need right now, and this is going to be the tough thing that people need to hear,
I don't get it. It's in Do Not Disturb. What can I tell you?
Hey,
I'll turn it off.
Airplane mode. What people need to hear is that there's going to have to be some tough decisions that are going to be made, and it's going to take
by who?
By actual leaders who are not who don't want to kick
party.
You got to choose different now.
No, yeah, choose different
because you can't vote the same
people in. Who are you
in.
holding accountable within this conversation? Because the lack of leadership, which at least on the Republican side is identifiable. Who is that on the left?
Let's first of all, there's two things we're looking at. We're looking at locally, and then we're looking at nationally. When we talk about locally, we can certainly point a finger at the Democrats because they run Monroe County, they run New York State. They have all the power in the world to change things, and yet what they keep doing is keep increasing handouts, which is increasing taxes.
Because it works, because locally, we don't have any real true leadership on the Republican side. Local and state.
Currently,
yes.
We've just stuffed it down people's freaking throats that it's the Democrats that are the only ones who support, the small person that's just trying to live every single day, just trying to make a living, just trying to feed their kids, just trying to educate them. And, we need to help take care of them. Yeah, absolutely. But the best thing you could do is get government out of the way.
Yeah.
Because they've only made it worse. Every new program that comes out costs more money.
This is why the failures within the local and state Republicans, I harp on a lot, because what they do is focus more on what's going on nationally instead of focusing on what's going on within your backyard, right? Like, stop piggybacking off the national narrative.
Right.
Really, really take down a lot of these local leaders. Like, for example, and he's the easiest one to kind of point out, Jeremy Cooney. This dude has been flip-flopping more than the sandals his Indian behind wears at home all the time. Like, he is the king of flip-flopping. And he's been flip-flopping for years. There's not one Republican leader that stands up and says anything only until it's election season. And when it's election season, they pick the most driest and most well-known national conversation to run all around and campaign about, and we create zero results in return.
I see everything from the inside now being, running a congressional campaign on a Republican side. Greg Selwood for Congress again. Mm-hmm. Seeing how
very well ran campaign, I might add.
Thank you very much.
I must say it is locally the best ran campaign out of all of the Republican candidates right now.
Well, there's two things to look at there. There's one, which is the team that's behind it. We have a pretty amazing team. I can sit here and say, thank you very much, but I'm seriously just one part of the entire team that really is just doing an awesome job in targeting. And that was my big thing, coming from my win, with the city council seat. My win was only by 27 votes. And people brought that up many times about how they want to push somebody up against me. I said, go right ahead. I don't even want this. I didn't come into this seat to become a politician. I came in to create freaking change, and I believe I did. But the way I won that seat was because I targeted specific voters. And that's what I told Greg when I came out. I said, we're going to target specifically, and we're not going to target Republicans, because Republicans should be showing up and voting. We're not going to target conservatives because they should be showing up and voting for their candidate. That's flat out what they should be doing. What we need to do on Greg's campaign is to target the independents and the Democrats who are just tired of the same old. Those are the exact people who are business owners that are Democrat, who are a little bit older with kids that are in high school that are Democrat, who don't fall in line with this Title IX Prop 1 BS, where these kids can just believe they're anything and go into any locker room that they want. If there's people out there who believe in that kind of stuff, who are sitting there saying, yeah, I don't align with my party on this, and I know that my representative currently is, so I'm willing to, drop down for this one vote because I know this person is talking about that. And that's the people we're targeting. I think we have a caller, though.
Yeah, real quick. James from Rochester. James, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, Jose?
Good. James, yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I really agree with you. A lot of these, unfortunately, campaign season, people talk a lot of what they want to hear, and basically, as you said, with all the things, go, well, guess what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen if they get elected this November? You think it's going to get better or worse? I guarantee you it's going to get a lot worse for all of us, not just from the bottom. It's going to affect the top and the bottom. It's going to, like a compactor, it's going to compact everything.
James, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry that it came a little bit late on the break here. We're going to jump into this break, a little extended break. But if you want to call back in, we certainly could have a conversation about that because I do believe there are some things.
If he wants. He can hang out through the break.
Or hang out. But I do believe there is something waiting in the background for whoever wins. And we're going to jump into that as well as any other calls. 346-3000 is the number to have a conversation with us. The politically correcting voice, Lavelle Lewis, myself, the Jose Pio, here at the WYSL stations.
She's a runner, rebel, and a stunner. From them everywhere, saying, baby, what you gonna? Looking down the barrel of a hot metal 45. Just another way to survive.
God bless America.
Mics are on.
All right. So that way everyone on social media can still hear what's happening in the background here right now. It's just myself and Dr. Bob back here.
Yeah.
But what do you think about exactly what James said there, that if they don't vote accordingly, it's going to get worse? I mean, I think that's pretty obvious.
Well, yeah. I mean, because there's no change, right? I mean, it's the same structure. It's the same. I don't know why I'm not hearing anything, but I'm not. I don't know.
Can you guys hear us on there? Let me know if you guys can hear us on the social media.
What is going on here? Hello.
I can hear you.
Oh, I know what it is. There.
All right.
Got it now. Yeah. It's the same structure. It's this,
I feel like
meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
I feel like it would be worse because they would feel empowered. Like what I'm doing is working, so therefore I'm going to double down on that.
Right. If it works for them, I mean, they don't care about us.
Right.
And it is going to continue to work for them because the way the whole thing is structured is corruption feeds the status quo.
But we're on the air. What happened?
James is going to stick around. So.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I was saying when you were out there that it just seems like what would happen is that they'll feel more empowered to kind of just double down on what they're already doing if they get back into their position. If the incumbents win, they're going to say, well, obviously people like what we're doing, so we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, give them what they asked for. You want communism? We're going to give it to you. We're going to disguise it as such, but we're going to give it to you. They're out in the UK. They're going through the same thing. If I was watching just some local news out in the UK, Sky Channel, right? My mom got, she got a Fire Stick, a whole bunch of different channels on there. So I'm watching the news, and it's the same stuff, the same back and forth, the same problems, same social programs. They have the same Marxist organizations running the propaganda in these cities and these towns, and people are buying it. They're just eating it up because it sounds good. It makes them feel good. It's the whole isms of everything. Everything.
And on top of that, when you keep increasing the amount of people who are on the government dime, then you're steadily increasing the amount of people who will continue to vote for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem as though Donald Trump has started to appeal to the black men who normally would not. I mean, it
Right.
showed, I saw the numbers for the past 4 Democratic presidential nominees, and Obama had 81%, or it was up 81 points for black men. Who was next? Biden had, no, I'm sorry. Clinton had from 81 to 65. Biden had 55 or something like that. And then the current Kamala Harris has like 41 points. So she has cut the lead in half, essentially. Just her running and not appealing to the black men. Now, is there enough black men who are sick and tired of, I don't know what would they be sick and tired of?
Are they sick and tired of that the Democratic Party has done nothing for them, or that they treat them like they can't do anything for themselves?
I think it's a little bit of both. But I also think just generally black men don't expect the government to do anything for them. Like, as a genuine man, you don't expect anybody to do anything for you. You're not really celebrated within the family structure. If you're
so, what are you voting for then? If you don't think that the president could do anything for you, what are you actually voting for?
Well,
then?
I'm voting for his job is to protect my rights as a citizen. I'm voting for him as his job is to make sure my borders are secure. Voting so that I'm not paying ungodly amounts of taxes for no reason.
All right, come back here.
All right.
I'm not funding the Federal Reserve Act. I'm not doing all those things. Like, I have legit reasons why I would prefer Donald Trump over.
Be right back on the air, guys. This message brought to you by MonroeCountyScope.com.
Morgan Rubbish Removal provides dependable and affordable solid waste removal for your business or office. Quality service, cleanliness, and integrity. Morgan Rubbish. Local business, local people you know. Visit MorganRubbish.com.
Hey, this is Striker that calls into WYSL's PCP Boys. I'd love to have you come listen to my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic. So I think you'll like my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic, on Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon podcast apps.
Politically correcting.
Go. This song's for me, obviously.
It's your birthday.
We're back. Politically correcting voice. Lavelle Lewis, myself, the Jose Pio. I believe James is still on the line. Is that correct?
He is. Hey, James.
How's it going?
James, you said that if we vote back in the incumbents, that it will get worse. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now,
I say all up and down the board.
Up and down the board.
Because I'm basically working with multiple of the Monroe County Republican Committee right now as an assistant, going out door to door and trying to get people to vote. And I see what's happening on the ground level. And basically what's happening is people are scared of the Democrats. They're personally scared of what the Democrats can do, because unfortunately in New York State, we have a supermajority. You should know that for a fact, because how they attacked you. You did a very good campaign, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
That you busted your butt. You did what you had to do. But they still criticize. I get criticized for being, but you know what? I look at it this way. If you don't like me, turn around, go that way. Because I'm not talking anything about you. I am here for results. I am here to do a job. I don't care if you love me or you hate me, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, whatever. I am here to help. I have been criticized up and down on both sides for being a disabled person. But you know what? I keep going. I keep pushing forward to be the best. How to be a champion. To be a champion, you have to be willing to roll with the punches. You have to be willing to get hit, and how hard you get hit, and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
I appreciate that, James, very much. And you're absolutely right. I do have one quick question before you leave. Now, have you received more hate or more harsh words, let's say, from the Democrats or from Republicans?
I would say out of the majority, I have talked to over 30 candidates so far in New York State. I have gone up and down the board, more critical and more negative. They don't have any policy. Their policies are just rooted on the very ground level. There's no meat to them. Like in yours, for example, you didn't care, as you stated over the break, you stated you wanted actual results. You wanted something to happen for the next generation. It might take you a long period of time, but it doesn't matter, as long as something got done. With the ones right now, nothing is getting done, or the very, very bare minimal.
No, you're absolutely right. And I can see when I was on the inside, I can look at someone's eyes and I could easily tell. James, thank you so much for calling. We appreciate the call. I can tell looking at their eyes that they weren't there for anything other than to pretend like they cared. They were still going to do whatever they had to do in order to keep getting voted back in. And that's what really irked me, was that when it came time to do something about whatever it is that we had to fix, the people were more along the lines of, oh, this might look bad with my reelection. They didn't have to come out and say it. They showed it. So there was so many times when it was, let's just say, financing for some signage. There's some signage at Turning Point Park that is busted up. And it would take so long to say, oh, we should definitely fix that. And I was like, well, I told you we should fix that 3 years ago. Well, it wasn't re-election time at that point. When it's re-election time, money gets found. And they're like, oh, hey, didn't you need some financing for that signage or for that trail or for that, project? Oh, didn't you need something for that? Oh, I was able to find it. I was able to, allocate some funding for that. Oh, thank you. So that's why I know when it comes time for election season, that's when you ask for the big ask. That's when you ask for things. Like in Charlotte right now, what we're trying to do is make it more of a Christmas feeling or a holiday feeling in the wintertime. So this week, I'm going to all the state senators, assembly members, and saying, we need lights. We need lights in our trees along the paths, along Lake Avenue. And I want it to feel like freaking holiday season when you go down there. What do we got to do to get that done? And they're going to find some way to get it done. And they're going to say, hey, can I present this at your next meeting? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I let you present that? You got it done. Go ahead, because I don't care. I don't care what party you are. If you get things done, I will give you the respect for getting something done. That's what I want to see. What I don't respect, though, is when something needs to get done and you wait till election season to do it. That's what I don't like.
That's all they know how to do, though. But they got the money to do it. Because when you follow the money, when you look at the Democratic Party and all of their candidates, and we heard this on the show before, one of the callers called in and asked about, well, who's the billionaires that's supporting the Republican side? Because on the Democratic side, and not saying that money, it means everything in elections, but money is everything in elections. And it is. You look at you look at our local candidates, you look at the state assembly candidates, and they are up on the Republican candidates like 10-1 in financing. It's insane.
But this is the thing. You got to know how to combat that. You have to get around that.
How do you do it?
You hyper target and you don't pay for stupid things.
Yeah.
So mailers, maybe don't do mailers. Maybe walk your happy butt down the street and hand it to everybody, or go to public market, or go to this event, that event, and hand it to people instead of mailing it. Mailers cost a lot of money. Now, for my campaign, not even for this campaign, what I said from the beginning with someone who is, working with the Republican Party, I said, I can't believe that the people who are running on the Republican side are not teaming up together to work together to push forward any type of social media or even a mailer or a marketing plan of any kind of sort. We have essentially two people who are running for Monroe County. I mean, Greg Sadwick's campaign is mostly Monroe County with East Bloomfield and Victor. And then we have Peter Vasquez, who's running for Monroe County as well. And then we have Senate seats that make up most of Monroe County. So I'm sitting there saying, if you guys are targeting the same people, why don't you work together and target them together and drop off literature for each other? And it's just uphill battle.
Are you having these conversations with campaign managers? Are you having it with
it seems this is what's happening behind the scenes. Everyone's campaign is all running their own campaigns. And it's gotten to the point where I'm sitting there saying,
so there's no team. We don't have a team.
No team at all. I'm sitting there saying, you're the top of the ticket, and they're not coming to you to say, hey, let's work together on this. The top of the ticket is the one who gets all of the, or should get all of the attention. And even the New York State GOP is not being very helpful. The national level is not very helpful. We've got 2 weeks left, and they sit there and say, well, we have some seats in New York that are up for grabs. LaRon only lost by 22,000 votes.
Yeah.
That's nothing. Yeah. That is nothing to make up, especially in a presidential election time.
And I thought LaRon's campaign could have been even more aggressive in the inner city and talking to his people and connecting to folks that really appreciated his time as police chief.
LaRon, I love LaRon. Personally, I'm a friend of his. Politically, I got to tell you, his campaign ran like trash.
It was run like he was John McCain.
there was no target for the city. Nope. All of the events were all Republican-based events anyways, or they were prayers being held out on the streets.
They also had Joe Pena coming around. And you know where they took them? All the time, all the way out in the sticks and the surrounding counties. They never brought these gentlemen into the inner cities to talk to their own peoples who are now nationally, they still had this opportunity, because nationally we have folks like Byron Donalds and Joe Pinion, who are phenomenal speakers and phenomenal leaders. And Joe behind the scenes have been very, very, very helpful with the Monroe County Republican Committee, and they still tend to take them to the same dry ass places.
And you hit it. That point that a lot of people forget too is their eloquent speaking capabilities. LaRon did not have that. Go back and watch the WROC debate with LaRon Singletary and Joe Morelli. We have studied it front and back. We actually had a mock debate. Literally went to a place that had cameras and lights and everything to do a mock debate so that I can have Greg completely ready for this debate coming up on Wednesday night, 23rd, 7 p.m. WROC. Go watch LaRon's debate, and then get ready for the debate on Wednesday. You're going to see a vast difference. Wait for that, because that's going to be the cherry on top, and you're going to sit there and you're going to say, this guy's going to win. I guarantee it. But anyways, that's our break right now. We'll be back after a quick break. The YSL station. 346-3000 is the number to call. We are the politically correct boys, LaValle Lewis, myself, the Jose Pio. Coming back to talk that talk after this.
Since we've been together, ooh, loving you forever.
I'm Greece Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Joe Robach. If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber. We are the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we are better together, and together we can move your business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today. You'll be glad you did.
Open Door Mission is deeply grateful. Because of your generous hearts, you've opened many doors. For those in need to find shelter with respect and dignity. For families who are revitalized with hope and strength. For restored, healthy relationships for those on the road to lifelong recovery. For people empowered with new skills and opportunities. With your continued help, more doors will open. Please go to opendoormission.com.
Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and along with my son Zach, we are the owners of Flower City Collision. We've been advertisers on WYSL, the voice of liberty, for the last couple of years. So I want to thank the listeners of WYSL for their patronage, which has allowed us to grow and reinvest in the latest technologies to ensure that your vehicles are repaired to the most current standards, whether conventional or EV. If you are in a collision, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta, and he'll work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure that your repair gets done right.
Politically correcting.
Nah, they tried. Just having a little background conversations here in the station. WYSL, the myself, the Jose Pio. Yeah, we're talking about certain areas of Rochester who have pretty much gone too far to the left and are just a complete waste of time for any candidate to go waste their time at. Anyways,
in Pittsburgh.
We do have a caller, the mic.
Hey, gentlemen.
How you doing?
Hey, now we're speaking about local politics.
Mm-hmm.
How about the person who's running against Harry Bronson?
Who's that?
You know who she is?
Nope.
I don't. I had to Google her. Okay?
Do they have a candidate? Who is it?
Tracy Florino?
Florio.
Oh, DeFlorio.
Tracy. I like Tracy. I like Tracy. She is. She's currently holding office right now. She is holding.
Yeah, she's a legislator.
Yeah, she's right now. She's a legislator. But again, it goes back to like what Jose said: the team, right? Who's running these campaigns? Who are in charge of them? Who's in charge of them?
Have I seen her next to Greg? Have I seen her next to
Good question.
Jim, who's running for state senate?
the same
over here,
area.
You know, over on the west side.
Right. It's the same area as Jim's.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm a West Sider. Me and Keith, West Side rules. Okay.
That's right. West Side's the best side.
West Side, right?
That's why we're kind of. That's why we're a little country bunkish angry. Okay. so I'm telling you, I didn't even know. You know what? I knew Harry Bronson. You know, here's a guy who's been there for quite a while. If you call his office, listen. I'm a person that calls his office. Things come up. Have I ever received a phone call back? Never. Never.
That seems to be the norm. I'll tell you that.
I know he was in the office because I've driven by the damn place and seen his car in his parking lot. Okay? Because I was working, literally called his office up. Oh, he's not there. I'm like, dude, his car's right there. I just seen him walk in the the old building there. I just literally seen him walk in. I mean, but there you go. The Republicans, get your head out of the backside. We got to join together. Okay.
And on top of that, Mike, thank you so much for calling. And on top of that, to be very honest here, safety is obviously a concern. But if that's your entire platform, it's not going to work. It's not. What it is that you're kind of running on fear as opposed to hope. And living in an area that is mostly Democrats, they want to feel hope. They vote based on their emotions. So you have to appeal to that. So if you sit there and say, we got to change the laws when it comes to holding people accountable. Okay, cool. What else do you have?
Yeah.
What else do you have? Because this entire state is not just, about that. So what else do you got for me? Mm-hmm. And if your only response to everything is, well, we have to fix the crime and then everything else will come behind it, then you're not in a good position as a candidate because you're only running on fear. And that's not a good spot. You got to run on something that is very optimistic in a way that you're encouraging people to want to show up and vote.
You're running for state senate. Like, focus on the state issues. Like, tell us what's actually going on in the state. There's a whole bunch of bills that's coming up right now that are sitting on the floor of our state assembly members that are insane when you look at some of the stuff that's happening, especially parental rights.
Yeah,
that's on the board.
Just showcase men beating the crap out of women. Showcase the Olympics. Showcase the powerlifting competition. Yeah. I'm giving you insight to what we're gonna coming out with next. Right. We're gonna showcase that and say this can't happen anymore. We can't keep going down this road. This needs to end. This is nonsense. And most people, when they look at a freaking dude that's not in the UFC, but in a MMA boxing match, beating the snot out of a woman, or a dude showing up with a full-on beard and says, I identify as a woman and powerlifting and out-competes the next person by 100 pounds and beats every world freaking record for weightlifting in women's competition, you can sit there and say, that's absurd. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Keep voting for the same people that are saying, men could be pregnant? That's what you're going to keep voting for?
Yes.
There's trust me, there's not that many Democrats who are still on those lines.
Are, bro. Do you go to the store and see how many are walking around in dresses too?
They're few and far between.
No, it's not.
Comparatively.
Go out. I spent a lot of time out in Pittsburgh. Go out in Pittsburgh, bro. I'm telling you, you'll see. I see one guy. He was walking into the liquor store and he had a walker and he looked like he's about late 40s, whatever. Now the only reason why I think he's walking with a walker with a dress on is because it looks like he got the job done, right? And there are certain laws right now that are on the books where they want to extend that to your kids. Our own the current vice president, our own vice president, is supporting bills that will allow gender modifications to inmates. These are your tax dollars going to these initiatives that have absolutely nothing to do with how you're going to pay your groceries, how you're going to put gas in your car, how are you going to keep your interest rate low on whatever credit credit cards, or let's say if you want to refinance your house, you cannot refinance your house because the interest rates are so high, and that the current rate that you have right now that you probably got 10 years ago, you don't want to get rid of that. But you got so much equity available, you can't even access it to it because the interest rates are just jacked up.
So we know everything is going wrong in this country right now. I can't tell you one thing that's going right in this country. And
well, name one thing that's right that the Democrats are behind.
I can't, because they're also talking about making semi-trucks electric, which a tractor trailer, I'm talking about, tractor trailers that go from Rochester to Albany, that's about a 10-hour trip right there. 4 hours to get down there, unload, descend the other 4 hours, come back. If you were to do that on an electric truck, you would never make it past Buffalo. Not even Buffalo. Name somewhere that's 2 hours away, because you're going to have to sit there for 6 hours just to recharge your truck.
Yeah. Let's do it through December. Let's go from late mid-November to early March. No, excuse me. That's when we usually get the big storms in March.
Right.
So early April, just imagine that.
It's just, and they're pushing for this in a timeline that is just absurd. It's not just 2030. In 2025 is when things need to start changing in order to even meet the needs for 2030. Mm-hmm. So they're pushing for these tractor trailers, semi-auto freaking trucks that are just absurdly expensive. And we don't have the infrastructure for it. We have nothing for these trucks. And they're saying you have to convert everything. My freaking landscaping business, we have to convert everything to electric. We won't be able to buy another gas lawnmower.
Isn't that another indictment of the fact that the Democratic Party is now the Communist Nationalist Party? It seems like it, because all that does is eliminate capitalists, right? It eliminates more and more capitalists out of the system. It creates more jobs and opportunity for the state level. It is another form of redistribution of wealth, right? Because once you eliminate more private owners, you increase more state ownership. You increase more state opportunity to take over just basic things, right? Just mowing your lawn soon will be done by some sort of state
autonomous robot.
Yeah, some state yard company, or they'll extend it to the garbage men, right? So they're gonna come out and cut the grass after they take your garbage away.
What are you gonna call her?
Yeah, we're gonna call her real quick. Angel, I hate to do this to you. You got 30 seconds. Shoot.
Just want to say that I was involved with the Republican Party years ago. I'm a recovering Democrat, became Republican. And you mentioned that there are people that they don't run all the seats. They just leave it blank, and particularly in the city. Back then, Republicans don't want people to turn out to vote in the city, so they suppress the vote. That's why you see, I'm not saying they're doing that now, but more than likely it is. They don't want city Democrats to turn out, especially if it's a district that has a little bit of the city. That's one way to not have them turn out.
Angel, I have heard that.
Oh, yeah. That's been done. And they're doing it a different way, though, by putting some crappy candidates up.
Well, that's the thing. If you don't have the position to be able to sit there and say, I can beat this person based on my outlook for the country, for the city, for the state, whatever it might be, and you're sitting there saying we want less people to show up to vote because they're going to vote Democrat. Why are they going to vote Democrat?
Yeah.
Because you don't have an actual game plan. You have no actual plan to, once you get into office, what you're actually going to do. All you have are the same talking points that you've had the last 4 or 5 elections that you've lost.
Yeah, they're still running on John McCain's campaign. It's still the same campaign that Yes We Can, Hope and Change obliterated back in 08.
Yeah. Angel, thank you so much for calling. Thanks to all of our callers, all of our listeners. I try to make these a little more, positive shows, but man, we got 15 days until the election. And I know that this election is actually everything, because if we don't change the path this state is in, this country is going down, good Lord, man, it's going to be real bad, real bad. So show up to vote and freaking get your friends out. And look, no one's a perfect candidate, but they got to be better than what we have now. They got to be better than what we have now. That's our show today. Politically correct. Boys, LaBelle, Lewis, myself, the Jose P.O. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk that talk.
Everybody at the bar getting tips. Everybody at the bar getting tips. Everybody at the bar getting tips. I've been boozing since I left. I ain't changing fortune. Tell my mind I ain't forget. Woke up drunk at 10 a.m. We gon' do this again. Tell your girl to
Fall means friends, football, and fun. They're all better with your new ride from Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 6484 Route 96 in Victor, where they're featuring a select inventory of 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4XE SUVs up to 40% off. 2024 Jeep Wrangler